So yesterday, January 24th, at about 1:34 p.m., Union City police officers responded to 33370 Dow Avenue for a report of an officer who needed assistance. Our details came in that a deputy had been shot. When we arrived, contingency plans were put in place, which were able to get the deputy out of harm's way, and the deputy was rushed to a trauma center for injuries. The area was surrounded. A vast number of different agencies contributed, sending resources to help with the investigation. And after a certain amount of hours or several hours of trying to negotiate with the suspects, search warrants were approved, and our SWAT team members made entry into the business and located two subjects who were deceased. Those two subjects were believed to be involved in the shooting of the deputy. And right now, our investigators are still on scene trying to piece together everything that happened. But yeah, as of right now, we're still investigating all the minute details, what the motivations or what the motives were for this incident that occurred. And that's what we have so far.
In the press release, it said that they had sustained self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Did each person shoot themselves, or was it a murder-suicide type situation?
Right now we're still investigating just to make sure, what exactly happened. I can tell you that no gunshots were fired by any of the officers or deputies. But this is what we're trying to investigate now, exactly what happened. But we did obtain search warrants and arrest warrants for both subjects, so they were both subjects of the investigation who we were trying to apprehend.
Have you, once you went inside the building, what was the situation inside the space where they were, and describe the space that they were in?
I believe it's a business dwelling which may have contained some sort of converted living space, but I'm not too sure about what that situation was as far as what it was supposed to be. But there was some sort of converted living space in that business.
Can you clarify why the deputy was there?
They were serving an eviction for the tenants of that business.
And just to clarify, were both the individuals who are now dead subjects of the eviction, or just one of them?
Oh, only from the two for that.
So, I don't have information as far as who the target person of the eviction was, but our civil unit was there to effect an eviction process that started in early November of 2023. The notice was posted to that dwelling on January 14th, and the deputies were there yesterday to serve that eviction notice and what transpired.
What was the cause of the eviction? Was it failure to pay the rent? Was it...
Correct.
Okay.
What's the procedure in terms of when the deputies went up to the door? Are they prepared for some sort of confrontation or anything like that? What's the usual procedure?
Well, I don't want to go into too much detail about what the procedure is and what took place yesterday, because all of that is still under investigation, but quite obviously there are protocols that they are trained, to, there are steps that they're trained to do. When anytime we approach any type of residence where there may be confrontation, as we all can understand, anyone being evicted from a property would be reasonably upset in some situations. So absolutely, they prepare for those type of interactions, but you never know how things are going to unfold, and every situation can happen, differently.
Do you have an update on the condition of the deputy?
So the deputy underwent surgery early evening yesterday and is recovering. He's still in the hospital. He is in good spirits, and right now he is doing well, and we are very happy and thankful for that.
Are both dead individuals male, or is there one of them who's a female?
Right now, one of them is male, one of them is female, and they were in some sort of relationship. But the rest of the other details are part of the investigation. We're trying to determine all other things.
Hey, just to clarify, when we say dwelling, is this a industrial space where they were living was okay to be a living area, and that they failed to pay the rent for an authorized living area, or were they squatting in an area that was not okay to live in?
I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but the building is in an industrial area, and there was a converted area that was a living space.
So was that area zoned industrial or residential?
You know, I can't give you an accurate answer for that.
Can you talk generally or specifically about the nature of the negotiations that you were talking about? What was the tone? What was said? Anything like that?
Well, certainly, you know, when the sheriff's deputies were there, they're trying to talk, you know, the individuals out to respond to them, to comply with the eviction when, you know, shots came out and one of the deputies were struck.
And just to be absolutely sure, because the wording of the press release is such that we believe, unless we're reading it wrong, that both, and this was asked earlier, both sustained self-inflicted gunshot wounds, or they were. Could it still be possible that one of them shot the other and then shot him or herself?
That's always a possibility. But right now, yeah, we're still looking at all options
So
as
we
far
should
as.
pull back on 2 suicides at this point, right? Or
Yeah, definitely until, you know, we conclude with our investigation to determine what exactly happened or how things played out.
Is there any indication that political ideology played a role in this?
I'm not privy to that, or I don't know anything about that part. That's part of the investigation.
And while the negotiations were going on and everything, was there anybody else in that dwelling, I guess we're calling it, with them, or any type of hostage? Nothing like that?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
You called it a business. What kind of business?
Well, it's in a business district. I mean, and that's all I could really tell you about it. I mean, it's a building that's in the business district.
and just make sure the 2 deceased individuals, did either of them work that business or nearby, or they were just living there? If you know.
I believe they were. I think they were named as part of the eviction process. But that, I mean, those are some details that, you know, that are still part of the investigation to see what exactly their tie to that address was.
Can you talk about the weapon involved?
That's still part of under the investigation now.
And only how many weapons?
That's part of the investigation still, so we're not going to disclose that yet.
Was the deputy there alone, or did he have a partner?
There were multiple deputies on scene, and just so we're clear,
During
the
the
deputies.
eviction part, right?
Yes, the deputies were only on scene for just a couple of minutes before the incident unfolded, so they weren't there very long. And in that process, there is a process of, you know, making yourself known to be there, knock and notice, to let whoever's inside of that dwelling know that you are the sheriff's office and that you are on scene for the purpose that you are there.
Have you been able to determine yet if the body worn cameras were functioning, if they were on at the?
That's part of the investigation that we're looking into.
Well, this given what happened here in Union City and then in East Oakland Outlook, the shot fired inside, confirming this may or may not change any process of knowing that you have upset people who don't want to leave. You guys always take precautions. Are you going to take any extra precautions, or, you know, stand back? And obviously, you're not going to let people have their way.
Anytime we have a critical incident or incidents of any real seriousness, we are always going to go back and evaluate the situation, debrief it, and see, you know, if there are any policies or protocols that need to be changed, you know, reevaluated, if we need to include anything that we hadn't done before or remove anything that we hadn't done before. So, you know, we don't take situations like this lightly. There's always a training opportunity in any situation, and those are things that are part of the investigation that we are considering.
Had law enforcement been to this home before?
Our agency had only been to this property to serve eviction. We have no prior history with that.
How about Union City?
I'm not sure. I think it's limited, but, you know, that's all part of the investigation also, what the ties are.